Hi, this is John from John's Workshop, and today we're going to be working on this 1961 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. And a good friend of mine, Chris, has found it's got some rough running issues. So we're going to tackle that. And one of the things we're doing is using an oscilloscope here. So we've got an oscilloscope here checking out the secondary waveforms. We're also going to be looking at the distributor and seeing if we've got some timing issues. Since the secondary scope traces seem to show quite a bit of variation, it could be that we have an issue with the ground of the secondary on the coil. But what we also noticed was that there's some variability in the time between sparks. So one of the concerns is the amount of play in this cam here on the distributor. And so I think what we're going to do here is pull the distributor out and really check it over to make sure that the centrifugal advance, which kind of feels a little bit stuck isn't the right word, but it just seems like there's a little bit of friction in there. If you can see that. And we're going to replace the points as well and set those. Okay, so now that we've taken the connecting bolts off the very top of the distributor, we're going to pull the top part of it out. So after removing these two bolts here, you can see we pulled the distributor out, and you can see there's kind of just a drive blade, almost a screwdriver blade in here left in the engine. We're going to put a paper towel in there just to make sure nothing falls down in that hole, and going to work on the distributor now. Distributor out of the car. It actually was fairly easy to just pull out. There's this ring here which caused it to kind of hang up a little bit. Just pull that out. But then you can see you've pulled the points and condenser off. There's the octane setting device. This is all pretty dirty, so we're going to get this all cleaned up. We're going to take that base plate out of there too, so we can see what the centrifugal advance mechanism is looking like and what condition is that in. This base plate is a little hard to get out of the distributor just because those little tabs you see there with the threaded holes kind of push out against the distributor case, and it makes it kind of tricky to pull this out, but you can do it. Here's a look at the centrifugal advance mechanism. We cleaned it and blew it out with compressed air, then oiled it up, and it's ready to go back together. So after cleaning up the distributor, we had it all apart. We put this back together with brand new points, brand new condenser. And an interesting thing we noticed as we're gapping, the points are supposed to be at 20 thousandths. And so we set them given one of the cams. And then as we rotated across the other cams, found that there was some variation from cam to cam. And so we saw the smallest, even though we set them at 20, the smallest was 18 thousandths and the largest was 23 thousandths. So out of the four lobes there's some variation in the size of the lobes. But we're going to leave it at where we got it set now. But as we're looking at how it runs, we may come back to that in the future. So here's the distributor with new condenser bolted on the side, all ready to get reinstalled into the car. To set the timing, you have to be able to manually rotate the crankshaft. So to do that, you have to take out the spark plugs, which can be done from above without removing wheels. It's just a little tricky to get your hands around the intake manifolds to get all the plugs out. And we're showing here just an image that shows B4, which is the cylinder on the bank B, number 4, and where that mark is on the top dead center, and then the pointer here is about 5 degrees after. When you're approaching the B4 mark, you have to be moving in the direction that the crankshaft normally rotates. Otherwise, you end up with some backlash in there. And so this image is showing you exactly how it should be positioned to set the timing to adjust the non-movable set of points. All right, so the distributor's back in. We have the flywheel set to the B4 timing mark, and we've got the continuity light on here, so the points are closed. And when I rotate this the tiniest bit, you see the light goes out. So this is how we're setting the timing on the fixed plate points, which is right here. And then we're going to rotate to A1, and then we're going to move these points until they're synchronized, doing the same process. Here we're showing the A1 timing mark, and again you have to approach this with the crankshaft moving in the normal direction of rotation. To adjust the movable points, this screw here needs to be loosened, and then this screw over here needs to be loosened, and then you can slide it around by using this eccentric screw here in order to get the timing just right. Okay, now we've rotated the crankshaft until the flywheel is on the A1 mark. And so now this set of points back here, which is on the movable base, is just about to open. So you can see the continuity light is on, and when we rotate in the counterclockwise direction, advance the tiniest little bit, you can see it pops off. So that's the timing has been set on the movable points. So now the two sets of points are synchronized. Okay, here we go. Starting up after having all that distributor work done. See how it runs. This is the oscilloscope trace. On the top, we see the secondary voltage waveform. Next down is the purple, which is the primary voltage, and then the next line down, which is a light blue, is the current on the primary side. I've just zoomed in on one cylinder firing here, and the changes we made today with the new condenser and setting the timing and the new points really didn't change the shape of any of these curves. They just really affected the time between firings. But what we do see on the firing line is that it's very horizontal, and this indicates that it's pretty rich. That should be trending up toward the end there, but we know we have a rich mixture condition on the car, and next time around we'll be looking into how to address that. All right, it's all back together, and it's actually running pretty well. We think we may still have some mixture issues, but the ignition seems to be working very well. We tested on a test drive, and it did much better than before, so rebuilding the distributor like that really made a big difference. There it is, ready for the next drive.